I'm Liz Faublas, and this is Currents. Tonight, the process to pick our next pope is underway. The story in a moment. Now first, a parting gift from Pope Benedict to our Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens, a new cathedral. Responding to Bishop Nicholas DiMarcio's request just 3 days after his resignation announcement, the Pope elevated the Church of St. Joseph in Prospect Heights to a cathedral. The move means joy for the people of the diocese.
I think it's wonderful. Wonderful for the diocese, wonderful for the parish. I can't be more happy.
It's going to be all different things around here, and everything's going to be all new. People are going to come in, say, wow, this is really awesome.
It is a great honor for you and for me and for this area.
We just told the people today that on Valentine's Day, the Pope gave us a little gift. Came a little late, but that's understandable when you consider he was making a lot of other plans. He named St. Joseph the co-cathedral for the Diocese of Brooklyn.
A few years ago, this church actually saw some really hard times, and now they have way more parishioners than they had years before, especially Mexicans like me, which is nice.
Church of St. Joseph served this area of Brooklyn since 1851, a long time. First Irish famine parish, where it was increasing number of Irish immigrants coming here. Then that church continued to serve the new waves of immigrants, Italian immigrants, and then later Hispanic and Caribbean immigrants. And now we have a very diverse community of Hispanic and Caribbean and a lot of young people living here and working in the city.
There are a lot of people who have new projects that don't have a space to experiment and to perform, and we've been offering the church as a space for that.
It's a beautiful space, and if I was to be a parishioner, I would like to come here.
The faith community here is a really warm and wonderful community, and the district the neighborhood is really growing and expanding. So this is the greatest place to put a co-cathedral.
I love this church because of togetherness. We have different activities going in this church, and it calls in a lot of people. So that's why I love this church.
St. Joseph is the patron of the universal church, and he's patron of all of us. So I'm very grateful to be here and to be able to celebrate Mass in such a beautiful building.
I think it has to do with its centrality to the whole diocese. The Atlantic Center is here, the Barclay Center has been built, and this is a growing neighborhood that will be more central as time goes on.
In fact, my very first conversation with a parishioner here, they were concerned that the church was going to be turned into condos. And now you take a look and see that we have over 400 people coming to Mass on Sunday, so it is a real sign of life in the community.
St. Joseph's now becomes the seat of the Bishop of Brooklyn and co-cathedral with St. James Basilica. At the Vatican tonight, almost all the voters are in place, the cardinals coming to Rome to select the new pope. 12 are still traveling, and until they arrive, which is expected tomorrow, a conclave date won't be set. Cardinal Dolan entered the Vatican City complex this morning for the first general meeting of cardinals, known as a congregation. 2 were held today. The cardinal is urging his brother bishops to not hurry the conclave, the formal process for electing the pope. He's one of several Americans pushing for a later start date. Right now, besides setting the date, the cardinals are approving preparations, including debugging the Vatican Hotel where the electors will stay and the Sistine Chapel where the conclave will convene. One estimate tonight is that the chapel will need 7 days to become ready to receive the cardinals. At this morning's congregation, the informal exchange of information regarding candidates quickly got underway. Also, each cleric in attendance took an oath of rigorous secrecy regarding all things related to the election. They prayed as well, and they agreed to send a warm message to Benedict. Talking among themselves at these general congregations, which will continue tomorrow, help the cardinals set the stage for the conclave. Cardinal Francis George, the Archbishop of Chicago, explains.
When the cardinals feel that they have had enough time to talk among themselves so that they can get a good sense of who might be the next pope. Those congregations are also important because it allows the men over 80 to have their say, even though they won't vote, they won't be in the conclave, but they have a lot of experience and wisdom to share.
Cardinal George, a voter now and when Benedict was elevated, has the experience to provide a behind-the-scenes peek at the types of questions his brother bishops are asking one another as they narrow down the field of candidates.
You go to somebody who knows someone who's talked about, if you don't know him, and say, what's he really like? How is his health? but most of all, what is his stability? And we assume he's a prayerful man, anchored in the faith and in love of the Lord, but how is his judgment? Can he govern? Does he have a universal heart, especially for the poor? Is he just a captive of his own place or his own culture? Those are very important questions that somebody who knows them, the answers, will share with somebody else.
Well, already countless news reports contain lists of likely candidates, the Italians, cardinals from Africa, Asia, and even the United States. Cardinal George, during the Benedict election, had his own list.
Last time I think I had one or most two, because you have to choose somebody on the first ballot, and it's that first ballot that tells you who has support and who hasn't. Until then, you know who's talked about. You're talking about them on CNN and other great networks, and they're interesting conversations you're having. They help us. And I must say that the people you're talking about would be good candidates from what I've seen so far.
Whoever is selected will face great challenges, according to New York's Cardinal Dolan. He thinks there are three big ones: reforming the church, increasing vocations, and fighting for religious freedom.
Where religion and faith in the church are being reduced to a personal hobby and made exclusively private, and the very ability to give public witness to the faith is curtailed and thought to be inappropriate. That's another form of a threat to religious freedom that's going on.
And while Cardinal Dolan and his colleagues in the college pick up the tempo and convene in conclave, we are told Benedict is relaxed, sleeping well, and planning on spending more time playing the piano. The Pope Emeritus is enjoying his retirement at the papal summer residence of Castel Gandolfo outside Rome. Welcome back. As the cardinals gather at the Vatican and get down to the business of choosing a new pope, roiling in the background is the story of the one who won't be there. Keith O'Brien, the only voting-age cardinal in Britain, is now admitting he's guilty of homosexual incidents against young priests. At least 4 had accused him. After first denying any wrongdoing, O'Brien now says his sexual conduct was wrong. A Vatican investigation is likely. In similar cases, the guilty have been removed from the priesthood. O'Brien says he's now retired and will play, quote, no further part in the church. He will not participate in the conclave. Meantime, South Africa's cardinal thinks it may be a long time before the college actually convenes. Cardinal WILFRID Napier says a delay, and maybe a long one, could be necessary for everyone to get to know each other. While the desire to be done by Easter is strong, the cardinal says no one wants to rush into, quote, ill-considered actions.
The main concern was actually to get to know what we have to do in order to prepare ourselves for the conclave. At this stage, it's too early to actually even give you indications of how things are going.
And the cardinal adds the whole church needs an answer about the next pope, and sooner is better than later, but the right answer is most important. And many wonder tonight if that answer could come from Africa. The church is growing rapidly there, and an African pope might be seen as a major milestone for the church. But an African would not be the breakthrough some claim. Between the years of 189 AD and 496, 3 popes were African, and 2 highly touted candidates to replace Benedict come from Africa. We learn more about them and the other places where the church may look for a pontiff in this report.
Et Spiritus Sanctus.
Pope Benedict XVI's decision to resign due to failing health came as a surprise to the more than 1 billion Catholics around the world. The Vatican says it hopes to elect a new pope by Easter, and the question on everyone's mind is, where will he come from? The growth of the church has slowed in Europe and in the United States, but beyond Western shores, Catholicism is expanding. And that has many speculating that the next pontiff may come from South America, Asia, or even Africa, where there are more than 185 million Catholics. 2 of Africa's frontrunners are Cardinal Peter Turkson from Ghana and Cardinal Francis Arinze of Nigeria. When John Paul II died in 2005, Arinze was seen as papabile, the one most likely to succeed the Pope. But Arinze is now 80 years old, 2 years older than Benedict was when he was elected. Turkson, by contrast, is a spry 64. Benedict XVI traveled to Africa twice, in 2009 and in 2011. Before his first visit, he was criticized for upholding the church's strict doctrine against condom usage, comments that were seen as tone-deaf when it came to addressing some of the problems plaguing Africa, like the AIDS epidemic. He later softened that tone in saying that condoms could be morally acceptable in some cases to prevent disease. In Nigeria, home to more than 25 million Catholics and growing, many hope that the new pope will address some of the problems facing Africa's most populous country. Problems, they say, that are not uniquely Nigerian.
I pray that this pope, I wish him, it's my heart that the Christians and Muslims should come together. Millions have been killed as a result of religion. It touches my mind. I feel for it. I pray the Pope, as the head of the church, should focus more, especially in Africa.
Father John Paul Ale says that there is only one way to end the violence between Christians and Muslims.
Way forward is dialogue and to have peace, realizing that when you kill a brother, you are not killing the religion, but you are killing the human body.
Although many of the parishioners that we've spoken to at this church say that it would be wonderful if the next pope were to come from Africa, members of the clergy say that that decision rests with a higher authority.
We don't make so speculations, we don't go by them. We rest in the arms of the will of God. We submit ourselves to God's will. Arinze, yes, he has worked, he has done so much, he has contributed a whole lot, but we're not going to move because he's an African. We'll allow the will of God to reign in everything.
Still, many are saying that when the Vatican convenes the papal conclave, the white smoke that burns when the church's leader is elected may be for a black pope. Vladimir Dutier, CNN, Lagos.
Well, it is considered bad form and counterproductive to actively campaign for the job of Pope. That's why these campaign-style posters now up in Rome are raising some eyebrows. They say, "Vote for Turkson," urging a vote for Ghana's Cardinal Turkson in the papal conclave. We don't know who's responsible, foolish supporters of the Cardinal, or maybe someone seeking to damage his chances. Up next, non-Pope news, Bloomberg booed and champions crowned. Details as Currents continues after the break. More than 4 months ago, Hurricane Sandy struck our area October of last year, and the ravaged remains are yet to be rebuilt. Mike Bloomberg heard about it yesterday. He was in the Rockaways to march in the St. Patrick's Parade. Lusty boos accompanied him along the route, jeers so loud other politicians didn't want to be near the mayor. And while the anger of the neighborhood was directed at Bloomberg, the parade celebrated a spirit of no surrender.
We're coming back. We're coming back. We're still suffering, though. There's a lot of people still without. We need help still.
This is a celebration of our culture and heritage. It's our 38th annual salute to the patron saint of Ireland, St. Patrick. This is where we celebrate our Catholic faith and culture and heritage.
Almost everybody from Rockaway has somebody that came from Ireland. My father grew up in Ireland, Patrick Hickey, Knocknagree, County Cork, and we all celebrate Irish. Even if you're not Irish today, you're Irish in spirit.
It's always a sign of life for us, and it's especially a sign of life after the storm and we're recovering. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see everybody's here and everybody's starting over.
I'm part of the parish of St. Francis de Sales. That's where the relief was. The Monsignor did a fabulous job up there. The Catholic community, it's a strong community.
We're regrowing little by little, still have a few difficulties here and there, but together we'll be able to overcome what we have to.
All of us from faith communities, we showed the value of a people of faith in helping their neighbours, whether they be Jewish, Episcopalian, Presbyterian, or in my case, Catholic.
Another great day, another great parade, another opportunity for us to celebrate what's good about the Irish and what's good about Rockaway.
I'm there with the good things. The bad things, it's the city council that did it.
Even though Superstorm Sandy was a great tragedy, it showed the resilience of the people and brought out the very best in so many people. Of course, in the city and in other places, people's lives have got back to normal and they're getting on. But there's so many people in this community who are still suffering, still hurting, still without power. So I think that we must not allow ourselves to move on until they're ready to move on.
And a late-breaking update regarding Monsignor John Brown, who was in our report. He's one of the heroes of the Rockaways and pastor of St. Francis de Sales Church. Now, the Congressional Medal of Honor Foundation has selected the Monsignor as a finalist for its 2013 Service Before Self Award. Chosen from hundreds of nominees nationwide, Monsignor Brown's round-the-clock efforts providing life-saving services to the community after Hurricane Sandy earned him that honor. Catholic University graduate and New York Yankees general manager Brian Cashman is in the hospital tonight awaiting surgery. He broke his right ankle today while skydiving. The stunt was part of a publicity campaign for the Wounded Warrior Project. Cashman was jumping with the Golden Knights, the U.S. Army's parachute team. And facing extinction as a school just 1 year ago, tonight Nazareth Regional High School is celebrating the crowning of its boys basketball team as city champs. Our Jim Mancari has that story.
At the historic Rose Hill Gymnasium on the campus of Fordham University, the Nazareth Regional High School Kingsmen competed in the New York City Class A basketball championship.
In a tight matchup, Nazareth earned a 46-41 win over Cardinal Spellman to claim the city title. Junior forward Samson Usilo led the Kingsmen with 18 points, while his teammate, junior forward Samson Aquilo, recorded a double-double with 12 points and 14 rebounds. Nazareth put forth a stifling defensive performance, which was a major factor in the victory.
That's what my coach always preached to us, is always defense. You know, defense win the game. And, you know, we just try to listen to him, and while we're doing that, we're winning basketball games.
It was a tough one, man. I knew Spellman was going to come out to play, because the last game that we played them, we had them up by 17, but they'd never give up on you. They came back, and we only won by 4, so this game was a little similar. But the veterans that we have on our team, we try to take care of the ball.
Over the season, we're holding teams at 44 points a game. That's our calling card. That's our staple. So without that, I don't think we win the championship tonight.
Our defensive performance tonight was really great. My players listened to our coach, don't foul, stay out of foul trouble, contain the guy, stay on the guy.
With Samson on our team, it makes us better because everybody is focusing on Samson and open the floor for everyone else. And in Kilo, he's 6'8". We need him.
The Kingsmen won the Class B City Championship last year, but this year took home the title in Class A.
It's hard to describe the feeling we're going through right now. You know, 2 in a row, that's a special feeling. I've had a lot of really good teams with chemistry. This is one of the top 5. The chemistry on our team is really, really good.
Finally, they came back to the game, but I still believe in myself, like, no matter how we are down, we are still going to win because we have something we are doing. We are a chemistry team.
It's a great win for us, for my school, my family, and my teammates, and I'm really happy we won the game.
Samson Usilo, it has been a wonderful player to me. Anytime I'm down, he used to encourage me like, you can do it.
We're very excited to see them win a second championship, moving from the B division to the A division, overcoming all the challenges that they have over the past year where the school was destined to be closed, and knowing that we saved our school, and now we are still coming back stronger than ever.
They wanted to close us, we didn't get closed. We held out to the end. Here we are tonight, same parallel. We held out to the end. You know, I'm proud of my team, my administration, my principal has been supportive.
We were very focused last year to make sure that our school continued in East Flatbush, and we kept our doors open. Everyone huddled around, from bake sales to major donors. The school is thriving, the education is better than ever, so I'm very proud of my organization.
With the victory, Nazareth will represent downstate New York in Saturday's Catholic High School State Championship. Good luck to the Kingsmen. Reporting for Currents, I'm Jim Mancari.
Oh, so proud of my alma mater. Up next, betting on the Pope, the fake bishop, and the Swiss Guard. 3 stories on Currents after the break. Picking a new pope is good for business at one Irish bookie. Paddy Power is predicting it will clear $7 million in bets on the papal outcome. The bookmaker says it's the largest non-sports betting action ever. The current favorite at Paddy Power is Cardinal Peter Turkson of Ghana. Well, the Swiss Guard ended their protection of Benedict last week, but they're still on guard at the Vatican, and they were needed today. An imposter dressed as a bishop invaded this morning's meeting of the cardinals until the Swiss Guard finally hauled him away. Identified as an Australian, he didn't hurt anyone or cause any damage. He did fool reporters, however, who took down his every word during an impromptu news conference. Well, we best know the Swiss Guard for their mission to ensure the Pope's safety. Now we hear from a man who had that job and knew Benedict well.
In Andreas Widmer's opinion, this is a man who was simply worn down and now has the weight of dealing with the public demands of his job finally lifted.
When you're an introvert, you lose energy by being with other people.
Did he lose energy?
I think he lost energy by being with people.
For 2 years in the late 80s, Widmer was a member of the elite Swiss Guards, the men who've protected the Holy Father for more than 5 centuries. He guarded John Paul II, but also knew Benedict when Benedict was Joseph Ratzinger, a rising cardinal.
These are two really incredibly different men.
Yeah. John Paul was somebody who could really work with a huge crowd and really get to, you know, with his experience in theater and in philosophy, in poetry and everything, he could really reach people like that. Benedict is brilliant at one-on-one and small group interaction.
Widmer, an author who now teaches at Catholic University, says as a Swiss Guard, you never spoke to the Pope or a cardinal unless he addressed you first. But he says he and Benedict would chat when Benedict was waiting to see Pope John Paul.
Completely open, like I can talk to you.
What was he like to talk to?
Very other directed. So he would ask me what my interests were and how I felt and how I saw things.
And with a sense of humor, like when Benedict offered to sign Widmer's copy of a book Benedict had written, which Widmer says was pretty thick.
And when I gave it to him, he says, "So you're really reading this?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying." And he says, "Well, it helps to do it in small steps."
But he also had a personal crisis as a guard, spending his first Christmas away from home. It was John Paul, he says, who helped him through that.
And I sort of had a meltdown. And right at that moment, he comes out of his apartment. And he noticed, and he reached out to me, and he thanked me for being there, and he gave me courage.
What were you doing? Were you crying? Or
Yeah.
You were?
Oh, well, I stopped crying when he showed up, but he noticed my red eyes.
As for what's to come, Widmer says the top job isn't what we think.
The Pope is the end of your life. You have to give up all the privacy. You're basically locked in. You can't go where you want to go. Everything is you lose your friends, you lose your family. You're a prisoner. Not one cardinal wants to be Pope.
He didn't want to be Pope?
No way. He wanted to go back home and write books. They're walking into the Sistine Chapel like this. Don't make eye contact.
Really?
Yeah. Nobody wants to be Pope.
And as we reported earlier, Benedict's now relaxing at Castel Gandolfo under the watchful eyes of Vatican police. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We leave you with more from the Rockaways and the St. Patrick's Parade. Please remember to stay with us for all the latest breaking news on the papacy. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Liz Fabulous. Have a good night.